less than a foot. Lows in the mid to upper 70s. Friday, mostly cloudy with chance of showers and slight chance of thunderstorms. North winds 5 to 10 miles per hour, shifting to the east in the afternoon. Flash flood warning will expire at 11:15 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time this evening for southwestern Lincoln, southeastern Nye, and northwestern Clark counties. Pose a threat. Please continue to heed remaining road closures. A flood watch remains in effect until 11 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time Saturday for a portion of south-central Nevada. A flood watch remains in effect until 11 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time Saturday for a portion of southern Nevada. You are listening to NOAA Weather Radio Station WXL 36 serving Las Vegas and the greater Las Vegas Valley in southern Nevada. The station broadcasts on a frequency of 162.55 megahertz and is programmed at the National Weather Service office in Las Vegas. Current weather information from the National Weather Service is also available on the internet at weather.gov. Again, that address is weather.gov. The current time is 11:11 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. The forecast for Boulder Basin. Highest waves are expected across mid-Boulder Basin and northward to Colville Bay and Swallow Bay. Tonight, mostly cloudy. Showers likely and chance of thunderstorms in the evening, then chance of thunderstorms after midnight. East winds up to 10 miles per hour, shifting to the north after midnight. Waves less than a foot. Lows in the lower 70s. Chance of precipitation 70%. Friday, partly sunny. Chance of showers and slight chance of thunderstorms in the morning, then showers likely and chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon. East winds up to 5 miles per hour, shifting to the southeast in the afternoon. Waves less than a foot. Highs in the lower to mid-80s.
Impacts from another sensitive vegetation and possible damage unprotected outdoor plumbing. Take steps now to protect your plants from the cold. To prevent water pipes from freezing. Wrap or drain or allow them to drip slowly. This is a statement from the National Weather Service. For the following portions of central, north central, northeast, and northern Maryland and central, northern, and northwest Virginia. The hazardous weather conditions are expected.
Not sure why, but my RF just does not sound very good tonight. I wonder if I didn't get a little water in the connection there. I'm gonna switch over and key up and see how my signal is.
Okay, yeah, no special problem.
Yeah, so this is my RF. It's really weak coming into my radio, and a couple of people told me that my transmission wasn't all that great.
Yeah, I think I agree. Mostly lack of RF. Didn't you have a ton of RF to use? Aren't you operating low power there?
No, I mean, I'm operating 55 watts, which is usually what I put at it. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. It was good when I left a couple days ago, and then, of course, we got this rain. But, I went up there and put some of that coax seal, and I did stop by HRO and got some of that dielectric grease, so I was going to get up there this weekend and put some of that dielectric in there, wrap it up real good, getting ready for the rain, but that's all I can figure is that it got a little wet because nothing else has changed.
You know, over there at Jerry's or at Home Depot, I don't know about Lowe's, but I think it's the same way. You can buy a whole tube of about 6 ounces of pure silicone dielectric, pure silicone gel, and the bottle I bought about 3 years ago, I think, was $6, and it's pure silicone. It's a good thing to have around. In general, it's used on a lot of stuff. You don't want to get significant amount of it in your mouth, but it's no big deal to get it on your hands. You just put a little WD-40 on your hands and then follow that with soap, and it comes right off. It doesn't like to come off with soap, but WD-40 cuts it really good, and then the soap will cut the WD-40 great. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you, because that stuff is so inexpensive in the hardware stores. It has several applications, and I forget exactly what it was. In Home Depot, I think I found it right beside some of the electrical goods, and somebody had told me to check the electrical distribution portion of the store for this silicone stuff. But in this particular case, if I remember right, I went to a clerk and I said, do you happen to know where I might find the silicone gel? And he just took me right to it. I don't remember spending any time at all looking. But the part that surprised me was the price. It is so cheap for a big old 6-ounce tube of it. And this tube was made so you screw on, oh, I remember, you pump on a little pump that's on the top, and it slowly dispenses what you need. And I've been using in my electrical fittings sometimes and things like that. At the very least, it's nice to put it on the threads of SO239, because it makes the fitting come down so nice and tight without a lot of effort. Anyway, next time you go to buy a large chunk of that stuff, you know it's available out there.
Well, I wish I would have known that. I picked up some Burndy Penetrox electrical joint compound from HRO the other day, just 2 days ago. Yeah, I was kind of surprised, you know, $20 for, I mean, it'll last probably a lifetime, but yeah, I'll keep that in mind next time. K9, see you again.
Yeah, one of the big uses for this stuff is when you take connections apart in a car engine. There's so many connectors now that are under the hood and exposed to, like if you're one of these people that like to keep things clean, the water that gets up in the area can be pretty rough on contacts. So at the factory, I remember on almost every car I've ever had, when I looked at electrical connections under the hood right after buying the car, I'd noticed that they'd pretty well soak the whole electrical fitting with pure silicone gel. And as you put the fitting back on, you see a little bit of it squish back out. So they put that much in. I think they kind of avoided putting it right on the contacts, but it doesn't matter. The wiping action of the contacts always runs the gel out and still allows good connection. But I haven't been using that on contacts in the car because I just I haven't removed any. And I think there's a use around spark plugs too. I think it's used in the electrical contact on top, where you push a connector down over the plugs. You put a little inside to help stop the water from getting in. There's no conductivity at all in the stuff, but it can be pushed out of the way easy and provide contacts their connection. It's also a good heat conductor, so it's pretty good around spark plugs. I still wouldn't use massive amounts of it, but it's pretty good. Anyway, there's a lot of different kinds of connectors that can benefit by helping you keep water out. WA7ABO.
Yeah, very good. I'll definitely keep that in mind there. Yeah, I'm really surprised if water got in that connection. I don't know. I just can't imagine it did. I loaded it up with quite a bit of that self-amalgamating tape. I don't know, we'll see, but I'm sitting here thinking about it. That's really the first since Dean gave me that antenna. It's really the first time it's been in any amount of rain. So I don't know. It's always some fun project, you know. So all right, well, I hope you have a fantastic day of it tomorrow, and congrats on getting the All-Star back up. That's really great. And hopefully we'll get everything wrapped up there on Saturday, though. We'll show up to win there.
Yeah, I don't know if we told you. We're not done with the All-Star thing yet. We have 2 computers with All-Star on it, and I brought the computer that has the most memory and the most operating capacity. I brought it down so that Ken could prepare it for the next step. He's going to set it up so that we're going to bring the All-Star in a different direction and get it out of my house. I think that was the idea. They're going to go to all software instead of using the HAP2 that I have here at home. I noticed a definite improvement when we installed the HAP2 over the HAP Lite. The HAP2 is faster and provides all kinds of advantages. But I think it's probably about time that we go to one of those Win98 things that have all the virtual ports on them.
Very good. So, what did you ever figure out what made the All-Star? Why did it crash out? Was it an Arden compatibility, or what happened? What did you figure out there?
Well, actually, we overreacted, I think. The real problem was the typical noticeable locking up of the HAP Lite. The device that I was using for part of the system up there at 529 was a HAP Lite, not a HAP2. And HAP Lites are known for having trouble trying to handle the new firmware. And you know, it didn't dawn on me at the time. I left the Wi-Fi going, which starves it of memory. So that's probably what actually caused the issue. The HAP Lite got overloaded, crashed on us, and if I'd just gone up there and rebooted it and turned off the Wi-Fi, I think it would have worked for another few weeks anyway. But that's a weak point, so we got to do something about that long term. Right now, I don't believe we're using the HAP at all. We're using a VLAN switch and a dumb switch.
Okay, gotcha. And now that's running through, or it's running on the back of Arden, right? Because that's, I guess, you don't have internet up there, so that's kind of what the integration with Arden is, correct? That's kind of how it's that is its internet connection. Is that right?
Well, right now the way it's hooked up, and I understand this is not exactly what everybody wants, but I've got the Part 15 dish plugged into a WAN port on the VLAN, and on the VLAN I've got 7 ports that run off to the nodes, and then I got a whole bunch of, well, there's 7 more LAN ports on VLAN, and all the services plug into the LAN ports. That's really the most basic kind of setup and the way that we started at one time. And we decided we wanted to isolate the cameras using the HAP light. And I think that HAP light has been more trouble than it's worth up there.
All right, yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't had very much luck with the HAP light. Matter of fact, Brett mentioned that I needed to reach out to Richard. That's what I was actually coming back to him for, to set me up, I guess, to reconfigure my Arden. I guess maybe with some of the changes, it's made mine not compatible or something. I don't know. Need to check him on that. But before it gets too wet and rainy, maybe I need to take a little time and go ahead and get my RF connection set up for Arden before this winter gets too wet.
Well, this is still a good time for a lot of things. I don't remember. I think Saturday was supposed to be susceptible to some rain, some moisture. Boy, we sure had a nasty cloud blow over Salem today. We were seriously worried for the car. I was out driving with a friend, and we were going down Hawthorne Avenue, and suddenly we heard this kind of a tick, tick, and a louder tick, and tick. And I thought, what in the world? And I looked around and said, that's hail. And he said, no, I don't see any hail anywhere. And then we started noticing a real light cover of hail on the road off to the side, but not so much in front. And I said, boy, if this traffic would just move, I think we can get out of this cloud. Apparently it was falling, the hail was only falling for about, half a block. You could see up ahead there was none, and in behind there was none. And off to the side it kind of was the same as it was at the car. So as soon as we got moving, and let's see, it was in the, kind of in the eastern direction, we got out of it just immediately, before we even left the street. And at one point, though, I was very worried for the car because it was coming down so hard and sounded so noisy on the glass that I was just, I was sure we were, if it got any worse, we were going to lose some glass.
Yeah, we had an event in North Carolina. No, it was California, actually. It was California. A hail event, and wow. I just kind of put myself in the shoes of one of the insurance providers because there were so many cars. I mean, it was, people were taking their cars in to get them fixed, and I mean, some cars, Dan, you would not believe it. I mean, they were, if it was a horizontal part on the car, it was dinged up. With like pretty significant dings. Sometimes, some of the hoods would have equivalent to 50 to 75 little divots, and man, it really came in and it destroyed a lot of cars, busted out a lot of windows. Yeah, you got to be careful with that hail. I definitely don't want that spaceship of yours to get boogered up there. K9CAM.
Yeah, I'm getting used to the thing now. It's got a lot of special abilities, and I even surprised the ham that was along with me there that he couldn't believe that oh, you got a heads-up display, and it's like, yeah, and what do you mean you're not using your feet? The car's driving, and stuff like this. Oh, what was it? He was so shocked at one item. Of course, like you've heard for years, all these cars, I can remember cars back in the, I don't know, late 80s, right around the 1985 or so. Dodge had a car that would talk to you. And, you know, you get in the seat and it would say, please put on your seatbelt and stuff like that. But this car actually carries on a conversation. And it was fighting with me today, you know, just as I was going to show it off to somebody. I said, take me to Wes's house, and the car came up with a totally, something that had no relation at all to doing that at all. It totally misunderstood what I was saying. So they, in the instructions, they said, talk to your car a lot, and eventually it'll learn your speech patterns, and it'll particularly work with repetitive things. And the very first time I talked to it, it performed some pretty complex adjustments. You know, it was able to figure out what I was saying, but whatever you say comes up in words on screen, and boy, it really messed it up good today, so I just gave up and used my phone.
Yeah, I guess that's why they tell you to speak to it often. And yeah, I guess the learning language side of it. You know, ChatGPT has they have an option where you can talk to your ChatGPT assistant, if you will. You can even give it a name, and that it will recognize. And it's I play around with it a little bit when I'm in the car, and it turns out to be some pretty interesting conversations. You know, it's pretty amazing how much of an actual conversation it turns out to be. Wow, how we've come a long way. I tell you, it's scary and cool all at the same time.
Yeah, the first thing I tried, now that I remember, the very first thing I tried was I was trying to figure out, well, how do you tell it where you want to go? Because in the previous car, you could type it in, or you know, go about it several different ways, and you can actually put a little X on a screen, and it'll find a route to get you there. You could put, if you wanted to, put in GPS coordinates. There's several different ways that you could bring up locations, and it would volunteer to take you to any of these locations. Well, this time I just kind of got buffaloed because I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I hit the little button on the steering wheel that you know, refers to your voice, and my request went out to a assistant that was live. This was not even a computer voice or anything. This was a live person, and they said, yeah, we've located Newport Cafe, and would you like to go there? And we say yes, and okay, it charts the path on the screen there, and you're off and running. And it saves the location, so that's good. But we started reading the instructions, and it said, yeah, you could even use a keyboard, and it showed how to bring up a keyboard. But when I got in a rush today, I forgot all that.
Oh, so you mean not an actual, so not like an AI modeled assistant, but it actually, you're saying it actually has a connection to, I guess, what Toyota or whoever runs. It actually got you in touch with an assistant. Is that correct, or an operator?
Yeah. When you first get the car, there's a whole bunch of systems that are concurrently operating. Of course, you are expected to be, if you have an Android and you get it hooked up with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, it talks to, what is it, Android Auto, and Android Auto has their own set of maps, and the car comes with a set of maps built in, and I noticed that it knows where new buildings and new roads have just been installed just in the last few weeks. So it's really current. And if I remember right, I think there's a third mapping available at the time of purchase. There's several programs that you can subscribe to, and I think if you get everything, I was looking at basically getting everything except the music, the XML, or what do we call that? The satellite music that they bring in on all the Toyotas. I don't want that. It doesn't work. It's if you're out in the flat highway and maybe like going to Bend or something like that, for the most part, it worked pretty good. But you know, on the San Am Highway where you go through the mountains and hills up around Detroit and beyond, it cuts out. So I don't even want something that's going to work just part of the time. And there's so many FM stations, and you can plug in your own thumb drive. I don't think I need that fancy satellite music. But I would like to have all the Wi-Fi and other fancy little features that they add to it, so that your car is continuously in communication with the assistant features.
That's really cool. That's great. You know, there was a wreck happened a couple days ago, and wasn't a bad wreck. It was an older gentleman though. You could tell he was really shook up. So I pulled over to see what I could do to help him, and he must have been late 80s. I mean, I don't know that he technically should have been driving his condition. He could barely walk. But anyway, I jumped out and figured I'd go help him out. And when I walked up to him, Dan, his phone, the iPhone, I forget exactly what it was saying, but it had detected, and that's kind of what it was saying, that it detected you've been in a wreck or an accident or need help. I forget exactly what, but it was saying to him, you know, that it could tell that he had been in a wreck. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. You know, I'd kind of heard that, like OnStar, you know, those some of the GMs or the General Motor cars, whatnot, you know, they can detect. But I guess now your iWatch and your iPhone and maybe some other phones, you know, and it'll automatically dial 911. I think that's something it was saying. But I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. His phone was, he was really confused. His phone was telling him all kinds of stuff, and people were screaming at him in the middle of the road to move his car, and I felt so bad for the guy. I just kind of walked him over and sat him down on the side and moved his car. But yeah, have you ever seen that, or have you ever had any experience with the phone alerting you that you've been in a wreck? K9CAM.
Oh yeah, my last Toyota had a 10-year plan, and when I bought the car, they told me it was for 1 year. So I was very surprised when in one or two situations we got into a very, very high velocity change, you know, so that there was the car could detect a very severe change of speed, and some big old motorcycles, you know, the Harley types, caused a little problem in front of me one day, and they decided they wanted to see this guy jump, so two or three of them all stopped within 5 feet in front of the car, and the car itself decided to stop because they were way too close to the car, and they were stopped and the car was still moving. And so the car thought it detected a wreck, and it piped up with something to the effect of what you're just telling me. You know, we've detected that you've been in an accident. Do you need help? And I thought, well, that's weird. We didn't push that button because there is a SOS button in there. And no, we told it we're okay. Everything's fine. And I guess we got within, you know, 6 inches or a foot of one or two of these bikes. But that was quite the funny incident. Not funny like ha-ha, but, you know, funny. Anyway, I happened into a situation during one of our bike events for Bike MS or something like that. We were out in the middle of nowhere, and you could see on the map that these two roads come to a T. This one bicyclist was really pushing it. He was not really willing to stop for traffic or anything, and he came out from the right angle of the T onto the main road, and a motorcycle came up and over the hill, and he had just, you know, the motorcycle should have had enough time if he was doing 55. I have a feeling he's probably doing 90. And he come over this hill, he had 4 or 5 blocks to stop, and it was a screech, you know, the whole way. So I really don't think he was doing 55. And he came down, he hit the bicycle and totally wrecked the bike. It was unusable. The rider initially was on the ground and got up, shook himself off, so the word got back to the race organizers that they were to send out an ambulance to pick up the guy, and somebody came out and picked up the bicyclist, and he really didn't have anything severe going on. I think he got checked out at the hospital or something. They released him immediately. But the guy on the motorcycle got off, and it only caused minor damage to this big Harley type bike. And he got off, and he was walking around. I talked to him. He didn't seem to be that bad. He was visibly shaken, but not that bad. He was an old man, and I understand within 8 hours he was in the hospital and died due to the shock.
Oh my. Wow. Wow, that's... Wow. Huh. Yeah, you know, I was actually kind of concerned about this other gentleman. I said he had never been in a wreck before, and young girl and he had run the red light, you know, and young girl that hit him, she was all shook up. It was her brother's car. She didn't have insurance card. He didn't have an insurance card. Neither one of them had ever been in a wreck before. And, you know, I followed up with him. As a matter of fact, I called him about 2 days ago when I first went out to Ontario, just to check up on him because, yeah, he was pretty shooken up. Yeah, I would say at first he might have been what would be considered shock. Wow, that's, I never would have guessed. I guess that's, you know, especially at that age, it can be quite the shocking moment. And she really boogered him. She hit him pretty hard too, right in the driver door too.
Oh, so his vehicle was damaged pretty severely, huh? That's called T-boning.
No, she 100% T-boned him. Yeah, he was still able to get the door open. I'm not sure how. But yeah, I felt so bad for the guy. Yeah. Anyways, some lady came along and because they were asking me like, well, what do we do? And I'm like, well, you need to call the police out here, And some lady came walking up. She's like, "God, you don't have to do that anymore. You just exchange information and you're good." I'm like, I don't know that I would do that. What do you? I know in certain situations you don't have to call the police, but is that true? Is that a thing now? You just don't have to worry about it?
Texts are so common that they've kind of backed off on a lot of that. There's certain situations, it's even written into your owner's manual and on the back of your, I don't know about everybody else, but my insurance company furnishes you a folded over piece of paper that it becomes instructions for if you're in an accident. And it says, get all the information you can. Certainly the driver's license plate, hopefully the driver's license number, verify he has insurance. And if you get all that, that's all you really have to have, his insurance policy number, driver's license number if you can get it. And if you can see his driver's license, at least, verify that. And make sure it's not expired. And get the name, number off the license plate, and that's pretty much it. Now, if there's somebody injured, now this is not just cars. If there's personal injury of any kind or the possibility of personal injury, they recommend that you call police in. But as long as it's not a hit and run, and both people report, make their, both people have to file a police report, which you can do online. There's not much more required. In Oregon, it's not no fault, but it might as well be. The actual coverage that takes care of the repair on your car is your insurance, and they do make a attempt to determine who's at fault, but it really doesn't make much difference in the way your cars are covered.
Very interesting. Huh, okay. Actually, I checked with my mother when I got home today, checking and make sure they're good. And she said, funniest thing happened today. She said the police showed up at the house, and they walked up and they asked, "Hey, can we speak with Kathy Clark?" I said, "Well, I'm Kathy Clark," and well, mother had gone by the storage unit to pick up some stuff, and there was a lady in the middle, kind of parked in the middle with her kid running around. And right there at the storage unit, and well, my mother she said she had to squeeze by them, and it was pretty close. And well, the lady called the police that she had hit her car, and my mother's car has like a little bang on the front left-hand side, driver's side, on the fender. Probably, I guess, right, and I guess maybe the lady saw that on her car and thought, "Oh, this is a chance. I'll try to get one over on them." So the